and all that. Looking at the later example, if you remember the mid of last year, July, August, we're talking about the right at the heart of the, that's Georgia or Atlanta, that's Little Rock, that the former Clinton constituency. Chinese and American firms set up a firm, a textile firm. It's big firm at the very start. The whole factory is robotics, over 300 robots working on textile and produce they just say that it's an Adidas T-shirt. The cost of the whole section is only 33 cents per T-shirt, and not involve, of course, materials, but this is the process, very low and is going to, that's not debungle, but kind of, that's make the way we're looking at the value chain, So this kind of thing means if the Chinese will not come the textile to this region, not only, it might move directly to where the market is. That means developed countries. So this is kind of thing this is a kind of the second issue, not the job, but then also the whole new sense of global value chain, also how is moving, and it will impact the way we talking. And last issue on this is also about the kind of the divide of this digital transformation, the kind of the new security concern. You're talking about the cyber security, about the people working and aware man machine related. We also deepen a lot of issues, space technology, and all this. I think that's the kind of the kind of learning and knowledge we need to catching up very much in this increasing trend. Next one, we already addressed a lot about the there's the rise of Asia. Is also the rise of ASEAN, India, China, but the China is true carry the most weight. You're right that we're still talking about the other ASEAN, perhaps a bit less than 1/4 of China as an economic weight, and adding up to India, perhaps it's making better than 1/4. So China, Asia rise still, China rise, which is still why we're talking about the ASEAN-India partnership. And we know that by 2030, that China is projected to usurp as the world largest top economy, and India to be number 3, some years later, surpassing Japan. And India expect to also, in terms of population, 2024 is expected to surpass China, the most populous country in the world. So very young, and also compared to very young, but still ASEAN is also two aging countries. That's the less is young. Where Singapore and Thailand still be aging country, but it's overall ASEAN is also young. I think. Talking about the ASEAN-India in an integrated Asia mean to address commonly the rise of China and implication on us. Like I think ASEAN used to address this independence, and we looking back in the 70s, the 80s, we used to address the rise of Japan also. That's in our region, and how the kind of economic independence. Not only trade deficit, we try to looking beyond, how then we come to term with. But China, I think this rise is certainly perhaps different from Japan. And it's had both enthusiasm and concern, because it's, I think economic influence, of course, is there. But a stronger political, military, and social democratic presence has been met with more equivocation, uneasy for many, if not outright consternation. So very important for me that in the area of economic, I've been looking at new influxes of Chinese investment. And I think here, many parts of the world, but in particular in ASEAN and mainland ASEAN, the new wave of Chinese companies, worker, and migrations that's happening with also the new Chinese project, that's talking about SOEs, high-speed trains, and infrastructure project, Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, and all that. So you might say that, well, this is a return to history, that India, China strong, and return to Central Asia. But it might not new. But this time, I think, is because of the economic and social and political machine, perhaps different in terms of the size matters. I think the size matters this round very much. It will be different, perhaps, from the past, in particular the way we connected two borders. Remember that Chinese moving into mainland ASEAN, they've been blocked by mountains, mainly perhaps to Vietnam, that they could come in and Myanmar, and then been blocked somewhere. So they become mountainous tribes and all that. But this round, with the new connectivity, roads, technology make it easy, agreement make it more easy, size factor of people living around it make it more easy. So I think this now it will be much more different and porous border, transboundary, like happened in, we talking the past few years while Ambassador and Wapra see in Bangkok talking about the Mekong, that's Lan Chang Mekong separation. So this kind of thing is we quite concerned, and we need to really address, and that kind of thing that's I don't know that India is different, kind of perception, but then and this is something that perhaps ASEAN India could come to more balanced and help to this kind of partnership. We need also have time to talking about the our attention. We are talking about about regional integration, few issues. I think that Ambassador from Vietnam talking about we need to address market-led integration as well as institution-led. Here we have a few business people, but who address like the firm like market-led integration. But here we're talking about how the institution-led could help that kind of integration. And I would argue that beyond ASEAN India, the integration we're talking a lot. Next big step, of course, is the RCEP is one, for FTA. And I would argue, I'm not agree with the former session, the chair, who mentioned that there will be a lot of diversion. I think this is the least diversion economic area of the world because we are quite efficient here and there. That's Japan is very good on this, China is good on this, India is also very good to offer on many things. ASEAN also trying to be. So, developing areas that we could be effective if we use this larger scale, region-wide, and FTA mammoth to make us benefit. And of course, a domestic adjustment we need to make all of us at least at home. So we need to rethink of this kind of partnership and integrate Asia and Asian cooperation. That's perhaps revisit of kind of thinking of what we and moving along, of course, of economic, political, and social integration in Asia. This is a very important challenge. I think I'd like to live with it. And of course, last not least, as the topic has taken very much in this session, we're talking about the connectivity. What could I add on? Because I agree with everyone that connectivity is still cornerstone of an integrated Asia in order, in addition to other efforts. And as ASEAN already tried to address almost from its first master plan almost 10 years ago, and even for ADB, Ambassador Rajanan know very well, from the beginning of 90s and right at the end of the Cold War to dispel the mistrust, among the GMS countries. So that's why now the mainland ASEAN, the CMLTV, we are the Thailand as well, in the macro region are accelerating the improvement of the transboundary logistical and distribution network, and as well as regulatory framework that support very much the integration, trade, investment, movement of people. That's how I think this is also how I think that ASEAN India is need also the robust response in the same way as we had done. A concrete example last year, there's Nippon Express began also offer consolidated transport between Bangkok and Hanoi on fixed schedules. That's and moving even beyond because of the Japanese firm working on the global and regional value chain need to work among the ASEAN countries, and in even moving beyond to Hanoi to southern part of China. Midibas in Ayutthaya, they're a very big firm. It is also use that kind of transport, land transport, in addition to what they've done before for maritime transport. So this is in addition to Malaysian and Thai logistical industry that start to do that similar things that offer parts and components in addition to agriculture produce or other things in the region. So I think it's become much more lively, and this will continue to do so. As last point on the connectivity, I think we need to remember also, I mentioned earlier, 2018, intra-regional tariff will be eliminated across CMLV, following the ASEAN 6 had done earlier. So this is a great opportunity that we do not, forget. While both ASEAN and India working toward the kind of integrated Asia. And of course, a lot of other things that I'd like to add, but I believe that these today's sessions, within sessions, leaving a lot of homeworks that we need to lay down and that working forward to improve our ASEAN-India partnership to the future. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Sutipan, for your excellent summing up and also presenting the Thai perspective. You have pushed all the right buttons, ranging from regional integration to RCEP, to connectivity, to cybersecurity, and even commenting somewhat candidly and realistically about the nature of the rise of Asia, and explaining quite honestly, I think, as to what is the role of various actors on all this. Dear friends, I know that this is virtually now the end of the session and probably of the conference. Should you have some appetite is still for discussion. I think we all have to be quite fair. And so the floor is now open for some questions or brief comments. And if you wish to a particular panelist to speak on that, please do indicate as well. This is the time for you. Yes, you can start, please.
Thank you, Chair. I have one question. In this whole ASEAN connectivity, are we sufficiently leveraging Asian Development Bank and Japan in terms of funding? And I have one comment. We talked about Mode 4 in the IT, particularly in the IT context. The business model we follow in the US requires a lot more emphasis on Mode 4. And what we would follow in these countries would be a little different. So can we relook at that whole thing and make both the sides comfortable?
Let me take a couple of more questions. Yes, Manish.
My question is addressed to what is wrong with it? Yeah. You know, the talk about in the emerging geopolitical equations in the region